Okay, let's get started. We need 30 of the tumbling tower blocks. I say to use the wood glue and the hot glue. However, just for video purposes, I went ahead and just used the hot glue. A note here, you'll see me with a different block of tumbling tower blocks because I had made that months ago for something else, but I never used it. But I didn't realize that it wasn't the right size. So I had a lot of trouble with that. You're going to see that, and you're also going to see me make a mess with this real quick. Just really quick there. Look how much of that paint got on me. So my paint or stain is burnt umber from apple barrel paint mixed with a tiny bit of black and water. So it becomes a very watery, dark mess, really. But it's my favorite. I sprinkle that stuff on everything. Excuse me. I have had a little bit of a sore throat, so I apologize if you hear me clear my throat a lot. I'm trying to talk loud enough to avoid audio problems, which I seem to have in every single one of my videos. But what you're going to need today is 30 tumbling tower blocks, 4 6x8 canvas frames from the Dollar Tree, um, a solar light, any kind of light that you want to put in the center. It can be a pillar light, it can be whatever. I use the solar light. And then lots of glue and stain, and 10 skewers. Now those skewers are going to be cut down 2 different sizes, and which you'll see. Um, so, oh, the frames. I hurt myself. I removed the staples from the canvas frames, and I hurt myself the first 2 attempts, but I never say never. And I tried it the third time, and I figured out if I use my great big, like, utility scraper, it has a point on the one end, that I could get some of those staples up. But before that, I gouged my fingers. I tried a screwdriver. I tried one of those little staple removers. I tried a knife. I tried all kinds of things to get those out, and I had almost given up until I thought, no, I see other people using these. Why can't I get these out? So it just took me to find the right tool, but I did damage the frames while I was taking them out. So my lantern still looks amazing, considering how badly I did damage them. So if you want to go for the rustic look, I guess. And also on that stain that I use, it leaves your wood really, really dark, and it looks really good if you distress some white on it. I'm not going to do that with mine. I like the dark wood color. It's my absolute favorite. So here you see me. I'm going to start staining here in a minute. I do use a wipe to wipe a little bit. I see other crafters doing this, or I have seen. I haven't been watching a lot of crafting videos lately, but I have seen that, and I guess it's for taking the excess off. I'm not quite sure. I did see a little bit of a difference after I used it, but not really enough that. So once this stuff gets soaked into my brush, that's when you'll see it start to really move. But my brush is quite clean and it's brand new, and I absolutely love that brush. It's my absolute favorite. But yeah, so that's apple barrel burnt umber with a small amount of black and water, and it's very runny. I make it very runny. And what it does is it actually soaks into the wood. It's not like paint. It doesn't sit on top of the wood. It actually soaks into the wood. So I made this frame here just for this video. I actually had an old frame, or not a frame, I'm sorry, this base. I actually had an old base. I'm telling you. But I keep thinking I'm saying the wrong things. So I have no idea what I had built that base for, but you're going to see me put those picture frames on it, and they're going to see it fail terribly. I was way out on one side and way in on another, and I'm like, why isn't this working? When I realized I had 33 blocks, when I only actually needed 30. But it was kind of a like, what the heck were you thinking when you made this? And I can't tell you because I made it months ago while I was still upstairs. So I have absolutely no idea even what I think I was going to make a tumbling tower Christmas tree. And I ended up not doing that, but I had had that base made up, and that thing was oh my goodness, it's so shoddy. It it has all kinds of gaps in it. It fell apart like 5 times while I was trying to do this. So, okay, so since I glued the blocks together first, now when I do my stain, I have to try to get in between the cracks where you can actually see. So you will see me putting extra stain in the areas where the blocks come together to try to get down inside. You can always paint your blocks first. I found this is so much easier just to put them together and then paint because you have something to hang on to. So, let's see. I wrote down stuff so that I wouldn't forget to say it. But, okay, so when you're gluing the blocks together, when you get a little, you don't need that much hot glue. My problem was always gushing too much hot glue, putting it in a big blob. I found that if I just run a real thin line down, it does the trick just fine, and it stays together. As long as you're not too hard on it, they will stay together. But you'll see mine is, it didn't go together the greatest. It has gaps in it and whatnot, but it actually had gaps in it before I even glued it. So I did know that that was it was going to be that way. But fortunately, we don't have to be perfect. They call that character. And I do want to apologize later on. You'll see as the lantern got big, I didn't adjust my camera. So here I am trying to be this big producer, video producer, and I can't even keep my things in the frame. Speaking of frames, this was the hardest thing. I tried it. This actual attempt here was the second time that I pulled these out of the drawer and tried to take these staples out. And I just absolutely had nothing but trouble with these. Then I get this thing. Once I get this out, I realize, hey, this is what I've been waiting for. But I had already damaged the frame with a screwdriver before, and the little staple remover thingy, and I bought those from the Dollar Tree, and they'd come 2 in a pack. Oh my goodness, they are not. They are $1. They're 50 cents a piece, so I don't expect much. They seemed like it was going to break every time I started to squeeze it. It seemed like it was just going to break apart. But anyway, I'm not sure that it's worth taking these staples out because it's just so darn hard. It took so long. So those are the majority of this video was taking staples out. The rest of it was easy peasy. But I don't have my saws hooked up. I'm waiting and waiting and waiting for my husband to put my saws, mount my saws on some kind of a table or something. And I guess we have all the time in the world. He works, he works long hours. He averages in between 55 and 60 hours a week at work, so I don't harp, but I really, really want my saws, and I guess I'm just going to have to break down and do it myself. So I have a scroll saw, which was hooked up in here, but there was too much dust, so I can't paint when there's dust, everywhere, flying everywhere. So I took it down. I took it out of here and waited for him to what do you call it? Remount it. Yeah, somewhere else. We have another room down here, a storage room, like I call it the utility room, where the furnace and everything is, and there's a great big long workbench in there. He could take it right in there, drill those holes, and mount that baby up for me, but he just doesn't have the time. And I also have a chop saw. What do you call it? Well, I have a circular saw, and as far as I'm concerned, they can just keep that. I'm scared of that saw. I don't want it to kick back on me. I have a cutoff saw. That's what it is. And I think it's a 14-inch. So, yes. 14-inch cut saw, chop saw, what I call it. And it is exactly what I needed. I want to start making some outhouses. Some of those little decorative outhouses. I think that those are adorable, and I think that I could actually, maybe have a business selling those. But I got to get my saws set up. So I have that. I have the sawzall, or a jigsaw, whatever you call it. So I have the jigsaw, the scroll saw, the cutoff saw. I have the circular saw, which, like I said, I would have to be outside with sawhorses and a long extension cord. Oh, here I'm showing you this base. This base has 33 blocks in it. I have no idea why or what I was even thinking when I made that. I just can't remember what I was going to use that for. But it's definitely wrong and did not fit. It did not fit it at all. So, live and learn on that one. So anyway, yeah, I've got to get my saws. I need my saws. So, okay, the skewers. Cut them a little bit bigger. You see me marking them where they're going to need to be. So one of them will go in whole, and then the other two will be cut so that they meet up in the center of the one that goes in whole. I hope that makes sense. But mine came up a little bit short. So it's probably the difference in the frames, because when I measured, I didn't keep which frame I measured for. I put them all back into a pile and I stained them all. Now here you'll see me cutting 8 of them, so I made it like you need 8, but you actually need 10 if you want to put the crossbar or whatever it is on the top of it also, like I did. Now, when you cut, I did not do it, but you take something, a bag or a bowl or something to cut towards, and that way the little pieces, when you cut them, they fly off. Well, I have a garbage can right over there beside me, and I think that's what I did for the most part, was I aimed it down into the garbage can. But sand off your rough edges where I clomped it with wire cutters. It obviously didn't just cut through, so it pushes the wood down and causes it to be, kind of malformed on the end. So you want to sand those down a little bit, or not. It's after you stain it and you get it put together, you're never going to see that. I mean, you're not going to notice that. I don't know of too many people that are going to come up and look to see if you did that or not. So, I mean, if they did, I would be like, hey, what's going on? So, yeah, skewers, just cut them just slightly bit bigger than what you think you need, and if you need to, when you go to put them together, you can cut them down, just snip them down just a little bit more, or even sand them down just a little bit more. And sometimes I think sanding something is a little bit easier than snipping it. So I am absolutely, my throat is just absolutely dry. I got my second COVID shot yesterday, and I didn't get a reaction on the first shot, and I haven't had a reaction to the second shot either. But my arm is so sore, and I remember the last shot, my arm was sore for about 5 or 6 days. But my arm is just sore as heck. So, let's see in my notes here if I forgot to tell you anything. So, oh, you'll see me using acetone here in a little bit too, because I tried to set this onto that preformed base I had, and it just did not work. That's why I did a new video for the base, but it didn't work at all, and I ended up having to tear everything apart, and I ended up with wood glue and the hot glue. The hot glue peels off, so when you make a mistake, you tear it apart, you get a hold of that hot glue, you can usually just peel that right off, but not the wood glue. The wood glue got sticky and already started to set up, so it was really hard to get that off. So I was using acetone fingernail polish remover to wipe some of that down. In case you see that and you're wondering what the heck are you doing, that would be it. That would be what I'm doing. And hey, I wanted to tell you a joke. So there's this mushroom, and he walks into a bar and he orders a drink, and the bartender says, "I can't serve you, you're a mushroom." And he said, "Aw, come on, I'm a fun guy." Ha, fun guy. Isn't that funny? Here's another one. There's these two guys and they walk into a bar. The third one ducked. How's that? How's that for a joke? Yeah, I'm pretty bored. Let me know if you get it or you don't. Just let me know. So anyways, yeah, here I am putting all these together. I put the video on 2 times speed. I might actually go in and speed that up a little bit more, but no, it's explained. It's very explanatory. I wanted to make sure that you know what you're supposed to be doing and what you're doing. So it's kind of boring to sit here and watch and try to voice over, though. Video editing is kind of tough, and it's very time consuming. So it's so much easier to do things in real time. The problem with real time is you don't realize it that before long you've got a 2.5-hour video. Well, who wants to sit here and watch 2 hours of some woman talking about how bad her life is? It just really, it's not logical, I guess, to think that. And this is why I started the channel, for vlogging purposes, to help heal my broken heart, to talk about my grief from losing my children, just to have something, some outlet, and the crafting is just fantastic for that. Now, my next video, I believe, is going to be macrame. I'm going to do plant hangers. So, oh, and I was sitting here just a few moments ago before I started up the voice recorder, and I seen this humongous spider. And I just want you to know, I've been terrified of spiders my whole life, and I mean to the point of night terrors because of spiders. I wouldn't put my feet in a blanket because I would think spiders were under there. I mean, just terrified of spiders. But I want you to know that I am not so terrified of anything anymore since my son Rodney passed away. He was terrified of spiders, and that was all my fault. So there was this great big 6'2", 220-pound boy man, and he would see a spider and he would run for his life, and I am not joking. I am not kidding. One day there was a spider up above me, and I'm like, "Rodney, there's a spider." That kid was gone so fast, and I was dying laughing, but I'm yelling, "Get back up here. Get back up here and kill that spider." And I hear, "No!" Him screaming from downstairs. But I just want you to know that I've been killing them. Before, I would run away from them. But once Rodney passed away, I found this new, I'm not afraid of ghosts anymore. I'm not afraid of the dark anymore. And I'm not afraid of spiders. I just think there's so many worse things out there in this world that are to be terrified of. than spiders and ghosts. I'm not kidding you. I've spent my whole life, so 45 years, I've spent being scared of ghosts and ghouls, zombies. My very first traumatic movie was Night of the Living Dead, and I couldn't sleep for weeks after that. I watched Dracula one time, and I couldn't sleep for weeks, and it started this whole absolute night terror thing where I'm paralyzed, like I can't move, but I can see, I can think, I can feel. I swear I can. It's probably all just dreaming anyway. But this started this whole thing, and it went right into adulthood. So I couldn't sleep without a nightlight. I absolutely had to have a light on no matter what. And now I'm just, something happened when Rodney passed away that I thought, if there's ghosts or demons or zombies or whatever that it is that I'm afraid of, if they're really here in this world that we live in, my son is not going to let them hurt me. So I stopped being afraid of these things. Now, spiders, on the other hand, I've just realized that if I don't kill it, it's going to come back and land on me or something. So, but I want you to know I killed that old spider. So, anyway, here I am, still doing skewers. So, when you put these skewers in, keep them, make sure that you have the back of the frame. You want the back to be the side where the staples were. And when you put these skewers in, put them to the top, like the very top. So I have this laying there, and my skewer, your frame is, what is it, a half an inch thick. So make sure that your skewer is not down at the base of that, while it's laying there flat. Bring it up to the very outside of that, the very top. So I hope that I'm explaining that right. You see, I can fit my fingers underneath that skewer. So it's not down on the table. It's up. I kept it up at the top of the frame. So I hope that makes sense. Make sure that you keep your skewers up at the top of the frame. That way when you put it together, they're on, they're close to the outside of the lantern. So, yeah, I hope that makes sense. I hope. This was actually not a hard thing. The hardest part of this lantern was getting those staples out. Those staples were hard. And I really did hurt myself. I gouged into my middle finger the first time. The second time, I cut through my thumb. I still have a big scab on there from where I gouged all that skin off. And oh, the cuss words. Oh my goodness, the cuss words. We're lucky we have voiceover. I'm lucky. I'd get in trouble. But I really did. I damaged the heck out of that wood. You just can't see it, but I did. So, at one point here, I'm going to move my camera up above and show you, how to put that top piece on. And like I said, I apologize if you can't see it very well. But when I go to put the light on at the end of it, I forget to put it in there. So I start gluing my skewers on, and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot. So I get that light. And that light I got from the Family Dollar. I wished I would have picked up more of those. I picked up 2, so I can make another lantern. But, yeah, I forgot, and I was like, oh crap, I gotta get that in there, I gotta get it turned on. So I picked my name, The Uncoordinated Crafter, and I think it hits pretty good, because if you see behind me, I have stuff that I just won't throw away. Oops, sorry about that. I have stuff that I just don't throw away, and I'm thinking I'm going to use this someday. So it sits here in these totes, and it waits for me to find a spot for it. Now I do need to get some more bookshelves and stuff in here, because I'm just building my, whatever it is, my room, my area. So if I get some bookshelves, I can buy those fold fold up storage things from the Dollar Tree. I think they're made of cloth, and you can fold them down, or you can, open them up, and I think they're stackable. But I could fit those right inside one of those great big bookshelves, and just have all this stuff. Like, what do I have back here anyway? I have lots of Dollar Tree stuff, but I have things like paint rollers, um, that the roller part that you put onto the actual paint roller itself. Um, just they're in there, but someday I might need those, but I don't need them right now. But they're still sitting here. I have some old barrel wood from a barrel planter that I had, and oh my goodness, I made the cutest flag um, out of that, out of three of those. But what am I going to do with those? I'm not going to get rid of them. So I also have like bowls and stuff. Ribbon. I have lots of ribbon. I have a tote full of ribbon. I have two totes full of wooden pieces. I have another one full of pictures, picture frames that I want to craft with. So it's not garbage and it's not junk. It's actual stuff, but I just don't have enough room for all of this stuff. So I can't afford to be organized. Oh my goodness, have you seen the prices on totes and those like those mini drawer things? Oh my gosh, they're so expensive. How does anybody do it? I don't understand. So I can't afford to be coordinated. I just can't afford it. Here, ramble, ramble, ramble. Okay, so you've seen me using the hot glue, and the this is still the old base, because once I got rid of that base, I didn't need those clamps. Um, so this totally was not right. I had one side out way too far, then I had the other side, and then I was trying to figure it out, so I ended up just busting it off of there, and then I had to redo um, my pieces, put my pieces together, and you see here I'm doing it without the base. That's what happened. It was not right. It was so wonky and very shoddily built. I still ended up using it. I put it back together the right way, but I was like, here I am on camera doing this. So, anyway, it seems to me like my video got longer somehow, because it seems like I've been talking forever. Actually, I have been. It's been 28 minutes right now that I've been talking. So here, this is where you see me wiping off all the excess glue, in case you wondered. Oh, I actually showed you. But that acetone fingernail polish is the bomb. That acetone is awesome. I have this big bottle of it that I actually bought. But I still I still have like 3 or 4 bottles that I bought from the Dollar Tree before I bought the big container. So here I am. That's a huge that spot there, right there. That is a huge hole that I dug out with a screwdriver trying to get a staple out. I'm not kidding. I tore those frames to heck and back, but it still turned out good. It still turned out looking good. So yeah. So the things to remember: measure your skewers out, cut them into something so the pieces don't fly out and hurt you. So here I am trying to fix my frame. Even though this is a different frame than the one that I put together in the beginning. Obviously, it's totally different, because the one that I put together in the beginning is exactly what I ended up with here. So, let's see. Paint and hot glue. Oh, paint and hot glue. Don't. When you get finished, if you, like for me, my skewers were too short, but I didn't recut them. I just used a lot of hot glue to, I put it into the corner where I needed the skewer to be, and then as it dried, I gently and slowly pulled my skewer out, so it stretched that hot glue out a little bit, and until I could glue it to the long skewer in the center. So you can see the hot glue. Take a little bit, so since I used a burnt umber and black, I can't use the water base, the one that I've got watered down, that's not going to stay on there. But I could use the burnt umber or make it just a little bit darker and paint that hot glue. Just put a little dab of paint on the hot glue, and that will hide the hot glue. Um, it will, trust me. So, okay, so finally I get my base on. It was a long road up until there. It was a very long road. So actually, this didn't take too much time. The worst part of it being frustrating. It was frustrating trying to get the staples out. It that was the longest thing, was taking the staples out, and it was very time consuming, and also it was not fun. It was the worst. I absolutely swore I would never buy Dollar Tree frames, canvas frames again. But the problem is that I have four 6x8s right now. Plus I think I have 6 or 8 of the 8x10s over there that I haven't used yet. So I still have plenty more staples to take out if I choose to do it that way. I also think about doing the lighted canvas, where you know, draw or cut out your design onto the canvas and, you know, have it lighted in the background. I think about doing those. It'd be a lot easier than trying to take those staples out. I hate it. You're probably going to hear about that every video I do. I'm going to tell you this was so much easier than trying to take those staples out of that canvas. But yeah, I really hacked my fingers up really well. I had a big cut in the center of my thumb. I have a big cut in the middle finger on the same hand that the cut is on the thumb. And then I gouged the back of my thumb and cut it open, all trying to get the staples out. Okay, so I changed my camera view so that you could see that I'm going to put these skewers up on top. So this is where I forget. I take the lantern out and then I forget to put it back in. So I tried putting it on the skewer and decided against that. It's a little bit too heavy for the hot glue. I mean, if you're going to use E6000 or whatever, it probably, you know, it would probably have worked. I don't know, you know, like I said, you can take a pillar candle and put it in there. You can take one of their solar stake lights, just take the leg off of it, and you can put that in there. Hi, Ruby. Here's my Ruby came in to visit. You can use any kind of light that you want in there to make it look however you want it to look. So mine is a little modern because of that cute little light. It's like a spiral, as you can see, but it doesn't sit up straight by itself. It's made to hang, so that's why I use the twine in the center to kind of hold that up. So this is I think it turned out really good. I'm not just like patting myself on the back, kind of am, I guess. Yeah. But anyway, oh, look at see the lemons in the picture up there in the right hand lower corner there? I got those napkins, and I am excited about decoupaging them onto something. I don't know what, but I'm excited about it, and I'm going to figure out what am I going to lemon up. I can't wait. I got so many projects in mind. Right now I'm actually crocheting macrameing plant hangers. So I get a little frustrated when you go to buy them. They're so expensive. You know, we're talking $20 for like a little 3-foot plant hanger. I don't want a 3-foot plant hanger. So having made my own, I learned how to macrame a few years back when I learned how to quilt and make jewelry in macrame. I had too much time on my hands, but I learned to macrame, and when I would follow the tutorials, you know, and back then I don't remember, did I watch YouTube? Did I go to specific websites? You know, I'm just not 100% sure where I even, you know, which video, who did them or whatever. But when they would be finished, I ended up with this little 3 foot, or maybe a little more than 3 foot, um, plant hanger. And I'm like, no, I want I want long ones. I don't want them hanging up like. So if my ceiling's 8 foot tall, and it's only 3 foot, well, it's the bottom of the pot's going to be at my eye level, or higher even. So that's not what I wanted. So I have been experimenting with different things, and I have this white baker's twine, and oh, I'm sorry, I already told you what I was doing in the video, so I just keep on blabbering. But anyway, so I had this white baker's twine that I got from Amazon, and I didn't realize that baker's twine is not really twine. It falls apart, it unravels when you try to use it. So I realized when I did that, when I tried to make the long ones, that it gets tangled up terribly. So I cut one down. I'm going to have a small plant hanger. I have a couple cactus growing kits. I'm going to do that to make it work for a cactus. But the one that I'm doing in twine here, in jute twine from the Dollar Tree, is going to be about, I'm going to say it's going to be about 5 foot tall. 5 foot long. Tall, long. So that when it hangs down, it's going to be at eye level. I want people to see my beautiful plants. So I'm thinking about making up a bunch of them. It's actually been pretty easy to, it doesn't tangle. It's not tangling. I feel really lucky about that. I did use some paracord to practice with, and paracord works great, but it's not that pretty. I mean, paracord's not really, I'm one of those people who don't buy things I should buy, like macrame cord. I should probably buy some of that, but I don't. I use what I have. I think this video is about to end, so I don't want to get stuck in the middle of a conversation and be like, oops, to be continued. So anyways, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start a video on macrame. So if you like what you see, please hit like, please subscribe. YouTube says I can't make money until I get 1,000 subscribers. I think I have 7. So if somebody could watch this and maybe share my video, that would be so awesome, just so great. But I do have a lot more videos to come. I have some good tips and tricks I would like to show. And I mean, I really appreciate it if you come back to see me. So yeah, you can see me here. What I'm doing is I just wrapped the twine around at the center, and I didn't actually lift the lantern up off of the base, so it's actually touching. It's just not completely down because it does set crooked.